We can all get along, but there's no stopping. Ay, everybody's wrong, that's a real problem. Ay, they don't wanna hear it, but they still talking. Ay, soon enough, we running out of options. Ay, this ain't gonna end till it's in the coffin. Ay, we ain't gonna be friends till we try to squash it. Ay, I don't know how we can make amends or we drop it. Snowflakes melt when it's hot, kid.
Y'all are so fake. Oh no. The forecast said that there'd be snow.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Heart of the Matter. I am joined today by Pastor James Devlon from the Look and Live channel. And boy, do we have a treat for you. We are going to be going over and reviewing Tom MacDonald's SnowFlakes. Now, Pastor, I know you've done this one on your channel. What'd you think of it?
Oh man, this is a very, very powerful song in itself because he addresses so many issues, especially things that are going on in the culture and everything. And he just calls out the double standards, like Tom MacDonald. That's what he does. He just exposes the stuff that's going wrong in our culture and just calls out the double standard and help us to see things from a different perspective as well.
He's definitely putting a spotlight on the things that need a spotlight on them. And I think that's one of the things that we can take away from everything that Tom's been doing is we need to put light in the dark places because the darkness can't thrive, and the things that are wrong with the world and the evils of the world only can thrive in the darkness.
That's right. That's right.
So, without further ado,
let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
If you lie to the government, they'll put you in prison. But when they lie to all of us, it's called being a politician. You think taking guns away will save our kids from the killings? But you're pro-choice, abortion kills way more children. If America's so terrible and racist, it probably isn't safe to encourage immigration. Just saying, all the contradictions are embarrassing. You know who hates America the most? Americans. Trigger warnings used to be on TV for seizures, and now they're everywhere to protect millennials' feelings. He, she, his, him, hers, them, they. Screw a pronoun, cause everyone's a retard these days. I hear him preaching at the protest that hatred's the problem, but hating straight men, white folks, and Christians is common. Coca-Cola telling people they should be less white. They preach intolerance, but if you disagree, they fight. There's a race war here, elections based on fear. Black lives only matter once every 4 years. Soldiers died for this country, and every one of us benefits. Give welfare to the bums and forget about the veterans. Black folks and white folks divided by the news, but we are all the same. We are red, white, and blue. Ashamed to be American? Okay, that's cool. Cause honestly, we are all ashamed of you too.
Y'all are so fake. Oh no. The forecast said that there'd be.
Wow.
Yeah, that was something. I mean, he's just coming right out the gate, just one after another, just calling people out. And he is definitely not wrong about the veterans. Like, you turn around and you talk to almost any veteran out there, and unless they're someone who's, like been in the system for years and years and years on end, it's really hard to navigate that system, and it's really difficult to even get into that system in the first place. And then once you're in, it's almost like they got their claws into you, and it's just a nightmare. It's a disaster.
It is.
And they definitely seems like it's much easier to be an illegal immigrant coming into the country and get free benefits than it is to be someone who was willing to lay down your life and
for the country itself. Yeah.
I mean, I took the oath twice.
Mm.
I volunteered to serve my country. I've done my time, and I still don't get benefits.
That is crazy.
So anytime someone brings up veterans issues, that's a source that hits home for me.
Of course.
And he's right. Being a white man in this world, Christian, you can just go right down the line of anything that was once considered normal has now been deemed wrong and offensive to what seems like the majority. But if anybody actually stops and steps back and stops looking at the micro and looks at the bigger picture, I think that they'll realize this isn't the norm. This isn't
Yeah.
how majority of people see this. It's just the loudest people in the room
Yeah.
are seeing this.
Yeah.
And the loudest people in the room, of course, are going to make the biggest noise. So therefore, people are going to think, oh, well, this is how it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how it is, people.
Yeah.
That's
There's so
just
much
not
more
how it
happening.
is.
So much more happening. And I
And
think I like what he
there's
says at the end of the bar too. Is just that you have an issue with this country. Is like, what exactly is your problem? Like, let me see if I can play that again because the way he addresses it was best. Um, he said it this way.
Aim to be American, okay, that's cool. Cause honestly,
We are all ashamed of you too.
Y'all are so fake.
Yeah, that's the point. Some people are ashamed to be an American today. It's kind of like, what exactly has America done to you that is so wrong that you're ashamed of? Well, I'm not saying things are good and perfect here. We know that's not the case, but the people who are so ready to demonize the country as a whole, despite the fact that this country has a positive upbringing for Christian laws and everything. Even its inception, there's been Christians at the root of it all,
Mhm.
and also the founding fathers and the Constitution. What we have here in America is like no other country in the world. But however, we have more people who are Americans hating America. It's like, yo, what is wrong with you people? Like, you really think things are that much better in other places, as you guys will have us to believe, and that's not really the case.
Exactly. And as I do recall, a lot of them said that if a certain someone got elected, they were going to move to another country.
I don't think they ever did.
Yet they never actually followed through with that promise.
Of course
And
not.
yes, I call it a promise, not a threat.
Let's look at the second bar.
All right, let's continue.
Oh no,
cause honestly,
We are all ashamed of you too.
y'all are so fake. Oh no, the forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane, more flames. Oh no, no more snowflakes.
they set us up to fail, that's what they built the system for. Put an ammunition shop across the street from a liquor store. Empowering women used to be different than this before. The role models got OnlyFans or dance on a stripper pole. Screw it, I ain't tripping, I don't mean to be mean, but if our children are the future, then our future is bleak. They take an Adderall to focus, hit McDonald's to eat. They're addicted to phones and they take Xanax to sleep. They blurred the lines dividing communism and democracy. In 2021, we paint the patriots as Nazis. The men playing women's sports get trophies for winning. Like, great, let's celebrate a man for beating some women. If you're black, your life matters, you're supposed to embrace it. If you're rich or you're smart, then you're probably Asian. If you're gay, then you're brave, all of that I'm okay with. But if you're white, the stereotype is you are a racist. Blaming capitalism like that's the reason things are tough. While you tweet from an iPhone and sip on a Starbucks, you're supporting what you stand against, you don't think you are, but a Percocet addict don't donate money to pharma. Damn dog, we're all afraid to speak the truth. And the more afraid we get, the more we hate the ones who do. You're ashamed to be American? Okay, that's cool. Cause honestly,
We are all ashamed of you too.
Y'all are so fake.
My goodness. Okay,
So-
we're ready.
So,
Gosh, he is wild.
yeah, he is just going ham. And he's not wrong about there are kids being in future generations of who's going to take over when everybody's gone. Like,
Mhm.
people don't realize, we are going to get older. We are going to have to eventually pass the torch, and we are not doing our children justice
No, we're not.
by filling their heads full of these silly ideas and fantasies that
Mhm.
you can be anything you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
How about we bring the expectations down a little bit more to reality?
That's right. That's right.
You know,
I like what he says also about. I'm not sure if I like it so much when he addresses every other culture. If you're black, it's okay. If you're Asian, you're smart. But if you're white,
you're
like-
racist.
you're
Yeah.
racist. It's like, excuse me.
You
like-
know,
and I've
whites
been
aren't the
making-
only one that can be racist.
No, absolutely not. But it's
I-
just lately there has been such a level of vitriol against white people
Hmm.
And and it's kind of like every time I speak about this, people get upset because you're a black man. How dare you speaking about this? Well, when blacks were being, you know, experiencing racism, there were a lot of Caucasian people who stood for them as well.
Hmm.
So for us as blacks today to say we shouldn't talk about that is almost like, who are you to tell people what to think and what to, stand for? But the thing is, it's like there is this, straight white male hatred that's going on today in our culture. It's almost like to be a white man today is a bad thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's so evil. Like they glorify all the minorities and they go after the supposed white people. And I listened to Corinne Jean Pierre. She was talking about how diverse, the administration of Biden is and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you talk about diversity, which really means different. So if you want to be diverse, shouldn't you consider everyone that is part of the culture as part of the diversity? Because while she said we have this many gays, this many black, this many women, and this, I'm like, how many whites are in that group? So it's like the concept of diversity in itself is to cancel white people. And I'm like, yeah, it's not about being diverse. It's about being anything else but white. And I'm like,
Exactly.
it's hypocrisy,
And
so
it's at the highest level it possibly can be.
yeah.
You know, and I mean that on multiple fronts. Like, yes, it's the highest level of the land as far as
Hmm.
office wise, but it's also at the highest level of hypocrisy of the fact that it doesn't get any more hypocritical than that.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, I mean, come on.
it is.
It's
Tom
just
McDonald's on point. He's calling it out though.
he really is, and this is what Tom does. Is he's always on point with whatever he's saying.
Hmm.
He's like right there nailing it every single time.
Every time.
And I think the awesome part is the person in the video with him in this is Blair White.
Hmm.
You know,
And there's an understanding. There's a, it's one thing to be transgender and be in your lane, but the way this stuff has come down to is like they're trying to shove it down your throat kind of thing, and
yeah.
that's an issue.
And for a lot of people, you try to force feed them something, they're not going to want it.
Most people won't.
And you know, and that's especially for like people like me from Gen X. We were born not to accept something at face value. We were born
No,
to rebel.
that's right.
You know, I'm sorry. That's
Yeah.
just who Gen X is.
Oh, we have to,
So,
especially in your generation when all the deceptions and stuff came about and all the
yeah,
conspiracy theories and all of vax mandates that weren't always the best for people. So they had to be skeptical in order for them to live. Your generation.
exactly.
Hmm.
So, I mean, when we were growing up, and this is the other thing he was talking about with our kids, constantly talking on the phone and,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, taking pills to sleep and, you know,
Xanax and so on. Hmm.
being on uh, that website, that one
Hmm.
website, OF, you
Hmm.
know, it's like, get off the internet, go outside, touch grass,
I know. Go run around, man.
play.
When we were younger
I
kids, we used to
my
just go outside all day, only come inside when we needed a drink.
When I was a kid, I wasn't allowed indoors. My biggest toy when I was a kid was a cut down tree stump with three nails in it, and I used my imagination pretending I was working an excavator.
There we go.
That was my toy as a kid.
That's right.
You
And
know,
that was fine. That was life. We were happy.
yeah. And
But
then you know some of the neighborhood kids would get together, maybe play hide and seek in the dark. You
wow,
know,
things have changed so
that's
much. And I think part
that's
of the reason why our kids today, the Gen Z today, the mental health is so bad is because a lot of it is they just live on their screen. Unfortunately, it's not a good thing because not only there's low attention span, but there's also irritability. There's also a bunch of other issues attached to it as well, addiction
mhm.
and so on. And they're all more prone to be exposed to all kind of wickedness, pornography, and so on, because of
And the thing
the way they set up.
is when some of these kids are going, yes, I call them kids, even though they may be adults, I still call them
Hmm.
kids because I'm older than y'all. So I'm sorry. It
Hmm.
is what it is.
Yeah.
So when these kids go for counseling, they could end up with a really good counselor who actually helps them through their problems, or they could end up with a really bad counselor
Who
who sits there
affirms.
and puts, if either affirms what they're doing, or even worse, puts bad ideas in their head
Make matters
that
worse.
is completely misconstruing what their reality is.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this is why Tom is calling them snowflakes, is because they've become so sensitive today. By every little thing is offensive to them. And I think, like, I was doing a little bit of study on the cancel culture, where it is birthed from. It is birthed from the Gen Z population who go online and just shout and scream at everything that is not going their way, and
Yep.
cause people to be canceled because things are offensive to them. A picture could be offensive to them. Just a thought, a perspective, just somebody's view that differs from theirs. Saying men can't get pregnant, that is offensive today by Gen Zs who are gonna go about canceling, and that's why Tom McDonald is saying, "Y'all a bunch of snowflakes.
Or saying
You
men
can't
shouldn't
handle
can
nothing."
compete with women.
Oh, that's a sin too. You can't speak against that.
Yeah.
That's a crime against, you get to be called transphobe and everything else as a result of that.
Yeah,
It's just
I don't
ridiculous to
understand
me.
how it's phobic because I'm not afraid, first off, because that's what the
Yeah.
end of that means.
Hmm.
Phobic. To be
Yeah.
phobic of something means you're afraid of it.
Yeah.
I,
But
I don't fear it. I'm not
mhm.
afraid of it. It's just I don't agree with it,
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
you
Anyway.
know. But you do
You do
you,
you.
and you know, just don't force me to accept what you do to yourself.
That's right. That's right. Let's move on.
Hey, that's cool, cause honestly,
We are all ashamed of you too.
Y'all are so fake. Oh no. The forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa. You can make us see it your way. No way. Gasoline and propane. More flames. Oh no. No more snowflakes.
We can all get along, but there's no stopping. Ay, everybody's wrong, that's the real problem. Ay, they don't wanna hear it, but they still talking. Ay, soon enough, we running out of options. Ay, this ain't gonna end till it's in the coffin. Ay, we ain't gonna be friends till we try to squash it. Ay, I don't know how we can make amends or we drop it. Snowflakes melt when it's hot, kid.
Y'all are so fake. Oh no. The forecast said that there.
Boy.
Oh man, shots fired.
Again and again.
Oh, that last line, snowflakes melt when it's hot, kid. You know, and I'll tell you what, the temperature is rising, and I'm
It
not
is.
talking about the climate.
It is. It is. It is. And I can also see why the snowflakes today, the suicidal rate, unfortunately, is just skyrocketing because most of these people are so emotionally driven. When they don't get their way, they Epstein themselves, unfortunately.
And
And that has a lot to do with the mentality that we've kind of, we've become so sensitive today. We don't want to hurt feeling. Words are brutal, words are painful, and stuff like that. Words are violent, things like that. Anything. And we're creating a culture of people who can't take responsibility for themselves, who can't deal with any pain, who have no ability to do with any level of sufferings. And now we create a bunch of people that are very snowflakes who can't deal with anything. And when the sun rises up, they start melting.
hmm now, here's the thing. I've got one simple saying that solves all of that.
Hmm.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people debunking that. They said, no, words can't hurt, which
Nah,
in a way it can, because it can hurt your spirit in a way, your feelings, but it's all about how much of it you allow to get to you, though.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
only if you allow it to.
Yeah, of course.
Like you've got to let that bounce off of you. Don't
Hmm.
let it. And that goes along with another saying of I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say to me bounces off of me and sticks to you.
That's right. Yeah, well, it
Okay.
has a lot. It has a lot to do with how you receive what is being said about you.
Or you don't receive it at all. Period.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if you don't like something somebody's saying, scroll along, move
Just
on.
keep moving.
Just
You know,
skip.
you are so right, because I recently had to, in my YouTube channel now, I've noticed like when you're reading those comments, some people just come off all strong and hard and mean and totally disrespectful. I just keep scrolling. I don't give you a thumbs up or a thumb down, or sometimes I just delete the comment, or sometimes I just let people in the chat room get on you because I'm like, I'm not gonna react to everything you say. You're allowed to say it, and then I'm stronger than you. I'm gonna move on. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna let you get in my head because I have a plan. I have a goal. I got purpose. I'm content in my own skin. So what you say doesn't mean a thing to me.
Yeah. And me just starting out, I'm sure I'm going to have to do the same.
Brace yourself.
I expect that. But
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what? I'm above that.
yeah.
I'm past that.
That's right.
You know what?
Grow up.
You're going to say what you're going to say. There's nothing I can do to stop you. It's called the First Amendment, and I fought to protect that. So,
That's right.
though I may not agree with what you say, I will defend your right to the death to say it.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Let's continue. Good point.
Dollars so fake. Oh no, the forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane. More flames. Oh no, no more snowflakes.
What do we do with Tom MacDonald, man?
I'll tell you. I mean, right now, I think he's a national treasure. He's a real one, and he's definitely doing a lot of good work out there. And I'd even go so far as to say he's doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, he
You
is.
know,
In
he's
his own
opening
way.
minds, he's opening eyes, and getting people to think for themselves. Instead of being what's spoon fed to them by regular media, social media, you know, and everything in between.
That's right. That's right.
And
This
shout
was
out to,
great.
and I also want to give a shout out to Nova. She's amazing behind a video camera.
Yes, she is.
Amazing work on that video.
Mhm.
You know, awesome on the angle shots and everything. Like, she definitely knows what she's doing.
That's right. She's amazing.
So,
Yeah, this was a powerful song, man. This was a powerful music. Well, shout out to even with Blair White. I listened
yeah,
to Blair White. She just makes sense. It's just that it's one thing to be transgender and be understanding and not forcing that stuff down people's throat. I'll respect you for that.
yeah,
But a lot of this stuff we are hearing is so extreme that I'm like, I have no respect for you. You know.
yeah.
So Tom
Like,
McDonald.
and that's honestly what it boils down to is, if you want to be transgender and live your life, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't force me to think like you do,
Yeah.
because that's never going to happen.
Never.
I mean, I go by what I see and what I hear.
Sorry.
If I look at you and I see a dude, well, even if I see a woman, sometimes I still say dude, but that's just the thing. I call everybody dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Doesn't matter.
not like I'm trying to mislabel you or misgender you in any way, shape, or form. It's just a generic term I use.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like back when I was driving tractor trailer and I'd go into a convenience or a truck stop and there would be a female cashier. I'd be, oh, hey sweetie, how's your night? How you doing? It wasn't like I was hitting on her. It was
Mm-hmm.
just a genuine gesture of kindness and trying to be friendship, just
Yeah.
being friendly and jovial with them.
No hard feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I'd end up getting me too.
Yeah. You might get canceled on the street.
You know, I mean, it's like,
It's ridiculous.
okay, y'all getting out of hand with this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So
We gotta. We
you
gotta. We
being a
gotta grow up.
pastor, do you have perhaps a verse or something to go with this? That
um. They didn't even pull my Bible yet, but
I'm sorry, I kind of put you on the spot on this one.
yeah. I mean.
But I know that. I mean, in my opinion, I think one of the 10 Commandments really comes to mind for me is love thy neighbor as thyself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the pivotal key things of Jesus's teachings that he really wanted to get across to us is we're supposed to love one another. We're not supposed to be having this strife between each other. And that's one of the biggest messages that I think Tom's trying to get across here is
Mm-hmm.
if we got along together, instead of listening to the powers that be that are
Mm-hmm.
trying to divide us and separate us into these little categories and boxes and keep us fighting and arguing amongst each other,
Yeah.
then they wouldn't have this power over us that they have.
Yeah. I agree.
And then we'd take the power back for ourselves because the Constitution says we, the people. The Constitution is a letter from us, the people, to
Mm-hmm.
the government saying, this is what you can do, this is what you cannot do. Not the government telling us what we're allowed.
Mm-hmm. And that's the problem.
So,
Obviously, we are being told to hate one another from one angle or another. This is the one you quoted earlier. You said, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as yourself."
yep.
Yeah, definitely. It's just it all comes down to this, man. Can we love one another? Can we really care for each other, despite the fact we have differences? We can be united. We don't have to be uniformed, but we can be united and live together and protect each other's rights and do this in a way without disrespecting and going as far as calling people nasty names just because we disagree. And I think, just like you said, there are some people who just want to see the world burn. They just want to see us tearing each other apart. They live of our fights, and they want to
Yeah.
see us.
They just want to see us struggle against each other so that way they can use that strife against us to get us to do what we want to do, like little puppets and minions and pawns across a chalkboard or
yeah,
a
you get
a chessboard.
control. It's a control mechanism. They
Yeah.
want to control us the way they want. It's sad, but But eventually, the
So,
people tend to turn things around and rebel. It seems like in every civilization as well, there's been this time when we kind of the French Revolution kind of spirit is like, enough. We see what you guys are doing, and we are tired of it. Now we're coming for you. So sometimes
and I
government needs to
think we're
be
starting to
reminded
see
of.
that. I
Yeah,
think we're
government needs to be reminded of
starting.
that.
I think we're starting to get a little taste of that now. That I think people are starting to wake up from
Mm-hmm.
all of this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and with the current administration and everything, I think we're starting to see people realize, you know what, something's seriously messed up,
Mm-hmm.
and if we don't act quickly, it's just going to get worse.
That's right. All right.
So,
Well, that's my thought on that. I think Tom McDonald was great.
yeah,
Definitely,
I
we got
think
some.
Tom definitely knocked it out of park with this one.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you have a wonderful and blessed day.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.